everyone. Welcome back to the Crafty Author. My name is Anissa. I am the Crafty Author. And today we're going to be making a highly requested video from another viewer. And today I will be showing you how to make a rag quilt bag using that method where we're not cutting any blocks. So I was asked if you can do that. I've done a test run. The answer is yes, you can. My first bag turned out a little bit smaller than I would have anticipated, but I think I figured out what I did wrong. So I'm going to hopefully show you guys how to do it the right way, and we're going to get started right now. Okay, I am working with some just fabric that I've had in my stash. So I'm just going to be using this as my outer fabric. This will be my inner fabric. And as you can see, they match pretty well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hop on here and get started. You're going to need 4 pieces of fabric. I cut mine at 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches squared. 2 pieces of my main fabric, 2 pieces of a contrasting fabric. So same size, 12.5 by 12.5. I cut some 2.5 inch strips off of my main fabric. These are going to be the little handles. You can make them as long or as short as you want. These are going to just be handles that you can just kind of grab and hold that way. Not doing anything fancy to them. They don't have batting in them or anything. We are going to actually fringe these as well. All right, so what you want to do now is you want to take your 2 squares and you want to have them wrong sides facing each other. So you should have both right sides facing you. So this one is going to serve as my lining fabric, and this is going to serve as my main outer fabric. Okay, so I have my walking foot on. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take this fabric here and I am going to fold it in half, just like that. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a lead that I already have and I'm going to start sewing here, and I'm going to use one of the lines on my machine and I'm going to sew about 1/2 inch down. All right. And then I am going to now that I have this stitched down, as you can see, that's what it looks like on both sides, okay? So now what I want to do is I'm going to fold again. So now I have this seam that has been created right along here, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to fold my raw edge into that seam there. And I'm going to start on my lead again, and I'm going to sew 1/2 inch, and I'm going to create that little pocket again. And then what I do is I take my other side right here, push that back, and I'm going to go into this crease again, this center crease that we created originally. I'm going to fold this side into it. This is just like when we made the baby quilt. Just going to sew 1/2 inch. Okay, and now that part is done. So Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of scissors, any pair of scissors, and you're going to put your scissors inside of this loop here, and you're going to just cut. You're going to open it up. You're going to open that loop up on that seam, just like that. And then you're going to do that to the middle loop. And it doesn't matter if you're straight or not, because it's all gonna get fringed anyway. And then you're gonna do this to the other loop. Okay. And so now you should have something that looks like this. Ta-da! Now we could stop here. We really could stop right here if we wanted to. And I might stop here. Yes, I am going to stop here. I'm going to show you two different ways. So if you wanted to continue on with this, you would take this and you would fold it in half, and you would sew a 1/2 inch here. And then you would take this part and you would fold into the seam again, and you would stitch down again. Same with this side. But we're going to do it this way because I want to see what this purse is going to look like. So I am going to go and I'm going to finish this other side. So do to both pieces of your fabric what we just did to that first one. So you just want to create this crease, remember, and then sew 1/2 inch down the middle. I'm just going to do exactly what we just did, and then I will give you more instruction when I'm back. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take our 2.5 inch strip that I have for the handle, and all I did was iron this in half. So you can see that I still have raw edges here, and I'm not worried about the raw edges because the raw edges are going to fray. So what I do is I just take the folded edge and I'm going to use that as my guide for my 1/2 inch seam here, and I'm just going to sew down. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one at the same time. Okay, now I have those two items done. The vibration of my sewing machine knocked my camera a little kooky. All right, so we've got that done. So same thing here, right? So we're just going to take a pair of scissors, just checking to make sure my stitching looks good, and it does. And I'm just going to find that loop that we created here, and I'm just going to slide my scissors in here, and I'm just going to let it cut along that edge. But I have a seam here, so from where I attached them, and that makes it a little bit harder to do sometimes. There we go. So you'll just want to do that, and if you get stuck on that seam where you attached your pieces together, if that's the way you did it, then don't worry about it. It'll be fine. You just have to work around it a little bit. If you were able to cut just one continuous piece, then you don't have to worry about piecing your handle together. But I use scraps for mine, so that is why. Come on. Through it. There we go. The seam is pretty thick. Okay, so now my handles are done. I'm ready to rag these. Okay, so now I've got my bag together. So I've got the lining sides facing each other, and I've flipped all the way around. Now I have my handles in here, and all I did was put them together, and I have them the open side facing out. So the thicker side where we're going to do the ragging on it is facing out. And this is a little bit different than how we normally do handles, but because this is a rag quilt bag, this is how we're going to do this one. So I'm just gonna get on here, and I'm just gonna hold these down. Just gonna sew these down. So we don't want those going anywhere. So one side of the handles are done. Just cutting off all that excess thread. Okay, and now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did over there. You can put an X on them. You can do however you wish to do it. I'm just sewing straight across on mine. If you do not want to deal with a nesting problem on the back side, I highly suggest you use the lead, which is what I was using earlier. And I probably should have done it for this as well, but I did not. All right. So now I'm going to take my bag here, and I'm going to sew in, again, a 1/2 inch. And what I'm doing here is creating it so that when I go to cut, I will have enough of a seam here around that I won't cut into that when I'm ready on the edges. I did something wrong. So this is good that this happened. So you want to be careful when you're sewing your layers, because this layer should have been up because it's already been cut, and I wasn't paying attention to that. So that's my fault. And so now I'm going to seam rip this until I can correct it. Happens to all of us. So if you do the same thing, just remember you have to seam rip it, otherwise it won't turn out right. Okay? And I will show you exactly what I'm talking about here in just a second. Do you see this flap here? That's already been cut and it's ready to be trimmed. And I sewed it downward, so I just sewed right over it instead of doing it the right way. So I'm just gonna start again, and I'm gonna back stitch just to lock in that other stitch, and then I'm just gonna continue sewing. And this is moving a little bit on me. The beauty of these is that it doesn't have to be perfect, you know, and you're not going to see any of the stitching hardly. So if you do boo-boo like I'm doing, you're not going to have, it's not going to be a huge issue. All right, So what you're gonna need are some scissors, or you're gonna need some snips. These are Fisker snips, and I've had these for a really long time, and I really like the way that they work because they're spring-loaded and I can use my hand instead of just cutting with my fingers. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on the handle first, and I'm just going to snip the inside of the handle. Go about, I don't know, I cut probably about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch apart. It's easier if you do it with, if you're not doing it through as thick of layers as I'm trying to do here. So you can see this will go quicker if I just do it this way. I don't know why I'm having trouble here. Should not be. This fabric is not thick. Maybe it wants me to go. Okay. I'm going to try not to cut into the seam, doing it this way. I know it's hard to see because I'm doing this on very, very dark fabric, but oh, I'm on an actual seam here, so. But you can see how I'm ragging those, creating those little thingamajigs there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna finish the handles. I will be doing both sides of the handles, just so you know. So you're gonna wanna do the interior side. You're gonna also wanna do the exterior side. Okay, so I have fringed most of our bag. So I just went in and cut, but I did leave one left here. So I have fringed all the way around this bag. I did the handles, I have done all the way around. I did the top, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and rag this last layer. And all I'm going to do is take my snips, and I'm just going to snip through all those layers of fabric. It's easier if you can lay it down and do it. So I'm going at it kind of the hard way here. So let me just turn this and maybe make it a little easier on myself. You can get a little more power going here. In my hands. Yeah, that's easy. So I'm just cutting right up to the stitch line, but I'm not going through my stitch line. And you don't want to go through the stitch line, because if you do, then you will have a hole in your bag. And that's not fun. This really does go rather quickly. I am going at it from a strange angle, so that's why it's taking me longer. I'm just gonna cut them like this, just so I can get through it. Okay. So now I'm done with my little snips, and they have a little locking mechanism in case you were wondering how that works. You just push it up. And now our little bag has been fringed all the way around. Okay? So next, what you do after you've fringed everything, you want to take this to your washing machine. You want to wash it, and then you want to dry it. Now, for this particular little bag, I used 100% cotton for both the outer layer and the inner layer, and then also my handle. And you could use flannel, you could use minky, you could use You could use a mix of cotton and flannel or a mix of cotton and minky. Whatever you want to use, you can use it. If you use fleece, you're probably going to have to you'll have to remember that your little fringes will not knot up and all of that. They'll stay fringed like this forever. They look cool anyway, but so I'm going to go wash this. I will post pictures of this little bag once it is finished. All right, so that's it. I need to wash it, and I will show you before and after pictures, so make sure you stay tuned till the end so you can see what they all look like. That's what the inside looks like. You could put a snap on here if you want to, and I might, I don't know. I have to wait until I'm done, but probably not. But you could do a lot with this. Maybe, I don't know how you would stick a zipper in there, but I'm sure you could. I haven't tried that. I'm not going to try it. Not this time. So I hope you enjoyed this. So if you would like to follow me on social media, the links are down below in the description box. Don't forget to give this video a like, and don't forget to share, because sharing is caring. Drop your comments down below, and don't forget to hit that little bell and subscribe. You'll get notified each and every time that I upload a new awesome video. And that is it for me today. Keep on crafting. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.